friends, it's Unicorn Princess here. You haven't seen me since I got my hair done. I saved up for ages and ages to get my hair like cut and lightened and stuff for going away to Japan so that I look bright and summery because I get really dark when it's winter, which it almost always is here. So I don't really have a major plan for this video. It's more of just an update on where things are because I got some stuff to tell you, I guess. Okay, so let's start with, I guess, the biggest thing. So I'll start with the not so great and then go on to the great so that it makes it feel better. Okay, so the not so great. I didn't get into teacher training, so I can't go do teacher training next year at uni. It is mainly because my college waited too long to put me in a placement that was a primary school. So yeah, I did not feel great about that, but it's kind of turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise, because with my health the way it is right now, I'm just not consistently well enough to do well. So like when you go into uni and do your like I would do 1 year of like final teacher training, I think it's 3 or 6 weeks blocks in primary schools, and there's no way that I could be well enough to do a whole like 3-week block without being ill at all. It just doesn't happen for me. And then after that I would have a year as a teacher in a school, and I have to have like a whole full-time teacher year, and there's just no way that I would be able to do that at this point in time. So not super happy about it, but kind of a blessing in disguise. The good news is I had a plan B, and plan B is panning out, so I'm really excited about plan B. I thought that as well as applying for teacher training, I might as well apply to do my masters as well, because I want to do my masters. And I got an unconditional to do my masters. So if I can get funding for it, please let me get funding for it. There's no reason why I shouldn't, but if I do, then I can do masters next year. So from September next year for a year, I'll be doing my philosophy masters. So I'm really super excited about that. I love doing philosophy stuff, so I'm super excited about that. I guess the other updates are really like health related things, because I've been in such a structured environment at college and it's kind of working out a bit like a 9-to-5 job situation. It's given me a really clear view of how my health is affected by fibro and like chronic fatigue. I've been a student on and off for such a long time. I worked full-time, I've worked full-time often. The structure has made it easy for me to see patterns, which is a positive. I have finally made a link to what causes my migraines, and I have been trying to figure that out for literal years. Sorry if the light changes a bit, it's I think the sun is kind of going down. It's not super late, but Scotland. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out why I get migraines for years. I thought that it might be food related, so I went on a bunch of detox diets and cut out the general, the irritant foods, dairy, gluten, sugar, blah blah blah. Didn't really see much of a change in the migraines at all. I did find out that dairy hurts my stomach, so I've pretty much cut out most dairy altogether. I don't drink milk or anything anymore, and my stomach is happier for it. So basically this is what happened. When I was a teenager, I used to have these insane panic attacks, but I didn't know that they were panic attacks because I couldn't link them to anything that would cause panic. So I just thought that I was ill once in a while, super ill. And then one day it just came to me that it's basically like something bad would happen this day, and I would cope, I would deal, and then the following day would be when I would have these insane panic attacks. So when I had this thought, I was like, I wonder if the same could be said for my migraines, because they always seem to happen after specific things, but I'd never made that connection before. So I looked through my diary, and I've been noting everything, like eating patterns, sleeping patterns, work schedule, everything, just to try and figure out what the triggers for various things are. And sure as hell, when I looked through it, I almost always get migraines now, either later on a Thursday or all day Friday. And that's because Thursday is my longest working day. I get up at 8 to go to placement at school. I'm there till just past 3, like 20 past 3. And then I walk 10 minutes or something, 5 minutes to the nearest bus stop, get a bus into town, and then go straight to work till 7:45 at night. It is definitely my longest day. It's not crazy rigorous. Like at school, there's a lot of sitting. You know, I get to sit a lot at school. And then at work, it's not crazy busy at the minute, so I'm not doing a lot. But every single time without fail, after that day, towards the evening or the next morning, I have insane migraine. I'm sick all day. Sometimes it goes on for 2 days, like a 2-day long migraine. Then the day after that, my whole body feels bruised, like I've been beaten up, and I'm exhausted, like absolutely exhausted. And then there's a further day of just feeling exhausted. So it's like one long day and then 3 to 4 days worth of sickness and recovery, which is insane. I've matched it to a couple of other things, and I've been monitoring it for the past week or so, and I didn't even notice it before, but I even get just like the threat of migraine when I've been, I guess, doing too much. And I think the thing that surprises me the most is that doing too much for me is either doing normal or not that much for another person, which is a bummer. Doesn't make me feel great, but I'm just kind of glad that I'm making the connections, because it means I can work around it, which is my main aim at the minute. I saw somebody write about people with like fibro and ME and CFS in like money. So they said dollars. I'm gonna say pounds because I'm Scottish. So imagine that everybody starts the day with £100. Everybody's the same. Unless, in this instance, you're somebody who's got chronic fatigue or fibro or CFS, you start with £25. So a regular person will spend their money casually throughout the day until the end of the day where they've not got that much left, or they've got none left. And occasionally you go like £5 into your overdraft. But that's okay, because you just need to chill at home, have a wee sleep, and then you're back up to normal again, no biggie. But a person like me starts the day with £25. If we're trying to keep up at the pace of spending as a regular person, it's not going to work. I'm going to be, you know, skint poor by the middle of the day if I try to keep up with everybody else, because I don't have as much as them. And then it talked about going into your overdraft, and because people with chronic fatigue and yada yada start with so much less already, they don't just go into their overdraft by like £5, they go into their overdraft by like 25, like the whole amount. So when it comes to recovering from going into your overdraft, you've got to start from like minus everything, work your way back up to 0, and then work from 0 back up to your normal. So the recovery process isn't even. It takes so much longer. And I basically I found all of this out because I was Googling. I was like, you know, is there such a thing as a delay to being like overactive, like doing too much and then getting exhausted? But is there a delay? Can that happen? I was on the fibro forums, and it came up with loads of stuff, loads of examples, and then I found a name. It's called post-exertional malaise. And when I read all of the NHS and the official descriptions and everything, it is exactly what happens to me. Some people get it within a few hours or several hours of doing too much outside of their energy bubble. Some people get it the next day. I'm a next day person, and that's why it's been so hard to make a connection. So on one hand, it sucks because I have to reevaluate how I do everything every day and imagine it from a totally different perspective. I'm imagining like an energy bubble that I have to live within and work with. so that I am not at the mercy of my conditions and I can be the master of my conditions, so to speak. It sucks because I have to reevaluate a lot, and it's a lot to process. I guess there's been a bit of a grieving process and stuff with it. I have days where I feel like I'm really useless and that people will judge me for being lazy or not caring enough, and that's definitely not what it is, but that's what I'm afraid that people will see, because I try really, really hard. So it's, you know, it's an emotional battle as well as a physical one. But I will say that since making some connections to things, I've felt a lot more positive, because understanding it makes me feel like I'm more in control of it. Even if that's just in my head, it makes me feel better. So there's a plus there. I was reading a lot that the emotional part of it is really important to acknowledge as well, because apparently people with ME and Fibro and CFS respond differently to stress and like emotional strain than a regular person does. Maybe just because they're not peak health, but it takes much more of a toll on the body. So I have to learn to manage my stress better and manage my like emotional stuff better. So it's all going to be like a big learning curve. But it's a positive making all of the connections. It's definitely a positive getting into masters, because if I am allowed to be funded for masters, it'll be much more easygoing than my current college course. It's nowhere near as structured, it's not registered. If I'm sick in the morning and I need to sleep more and come in the afternoon, that's okay. If I need to leave a class early, it's fine. I'm not going to be marked absent for having to leave early. If I'm sick for a week, as long as I'm communicating with my lecturers and letting them know what I'm doing, it's okay. It's like, they're cool. So my hope is kind of to take the next year or so easier anyway, and that the break will help my health go back up to kind of a normal place. Maybe not full person normal, but me normal, because I've been pretty much continuously really sick for months and months now. I don't get normal days anymore, and when I was in hospital last week, the specialist guy was like, I'm not telling you to quit everything, but quit everything. Because it's not that it has a wearing effect on the body physically, but as far as like energy and sickness goes, the more I put myself through and the more I stress myself and the more work I give myself, the deeper I'm digging an already existing hole. And it'll take me longer to recoup. So he's like, you really need to like tone it all down and relax a bit and have some chill time and some less on your plate to get to kinda better. So hopefully masters will do that. I'm very aware of doing videos like this and feeling really guilty about them, because I feel in my head I can hear myself like, oh, stop complaining, like you're just whining. And I hate that. Like I hate that I feel that way about myself, because I wouldn't think that about somebody else, but I do feel that way about myself. I'm not a complainer. That's not what I mean. There's things I don't like about the world that I will talk and rant about, but I'm not someone to sit and go, oh, my life is so hard, and I hate when other people do that. And that's what I feel like when I'm doing this. But that's not what this is, and I have to cut myself a break a bit. And I feel for other people. I think that there's a lot of people around right now, particularly in Britain, I'll say in Scotland because I live in Scotland, that are having a really hard time right now. Things are not super great. There's a lot of things that are not working properly, and everybody's kind of feeling the effects of it, and it's easy to see how down it's getting people. So I feel bad about complaining about this stuff when I want to be supportive of other people because they're having such a hard time. So I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna try and not give myself such a hard time for talking about this, for processing it, because it is a process and I have to do it. It has to be done, and I need to stop being so hard on myself. But I also want to try and be more positive in general, so that I can help out other people, so I can be more present for other people, to help them be a bit happier, because I don't like it when other people are having a hard time. It's not good. Don't think anyone does. Anyway guys, I'm sorry if this was kind of a rambly, weird video. I just kind of wanted to have like a chat about stuff and let you know what's going on. Shoot me a comment if you live in Scotland right now. How is everything affecting you? Because the people around me, there's so many businesses closing and loads of people being made redundant, and it just seems like a nightmare. So if you live in Britain, actually, not just Scotland, like Britain as a general rule, let me know what things are like whereabout you are, because it is a show here. Honestly. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz, and check out my Patreon and whatnot in the descriptions below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye! Love.